My wealthy benefactor found the pregnancy test, and I could see he was about to lose it. Thinking fast, I blurted out, "Wait, I can explain. This baby isn't yours." Oliver's face darkened. He shot me a glare and growled, "Wait for me to get back," before rushing off to catch a flight to Paris. That night, terrified, I grabbed my money and made a run for it. But I was stopped at the airport. Oliver hauled me into his car and grabbed my waist, his grip fierce. "You love him that much?" I shook my head, fighting back tears. He sighed, finally giving in. "Fine. Have the baby. I'll raise it. But from now on, you're only allowed to love me. Deal?" I was the most dedicated kept woman in Hollywood. When my benefactor picked up food, I turned the lazy Susan. When he opened the car door, I got in. When he raised his glass, I took the first sip. But now, here I was at the wrap party for my new movie, me, the one who always loved a good drink. I just brought the glass to my lips. The next second, a wave of nausea washed over me. I bolted for the restroom and dry heaved until my eyes watered. A terrible feeling started to grow in the pit of my stomach. Last month, to promote the new film, I had to play up my chemistry with the hot young star Leo for a reality show. Even though I'd cleared it with Oliver beforehand, he still pinned me to the bed that night and punished me relentlessly. He deliberately teased me, leaving me hanging. His searing kisses trailed down my neck, behind my ear, hitting every sensitive spot. Finally, he took my hand and pressed it against his abs. He whispered menacingly in my ear. "Tell me, does that man who was all over you have a better body, or do I?" I resisted the heat under my palm. "He wasn't all over me, ah." I stammered. A deep thrust cut me off. I let out a strangled cry, my voice trembling as I answered. Your body is better." A satisfied smirk touched Oliver's lips, a dark desire swirling in his eyes. He flipped me over and leaned in hard. The room filled with our passion. I don't remember how many times I begged for mercy that night. I don't even remember if we used protection the last few times. All I remember is waking up the next morning to a scene of total chaos. Since it was supposed to be my safe period, I didn't think much of it and rushed off to the film set. But now that I think about it, my period is a full week late. Pushing down the rising unease, I went to a pharmacy and bought a pregnancy test. A few minutes later, I was staring at 2 bright red lines, my mind a total mess. My relationship with Oliver was a secret to begin with. He probably doesn't want this baby, right? Just as I was spiraling, Oliver's call came through. His voice was as emotionless as ever. "Are you done? I'm outside." I had no idea why Oliver would suddenly show up. According to his schedule, he was supposed to be at a family dinner at the Foster estate right now. When he saw me jogging out, Oliver, who had been leaning against his supercar, straightened up slightly. He stubbed out his cigarette, opened the passenger door, and said flatly, "I'm flying to Paris tomorrow morning for about 3 days. Just wanted to see you before I go." Paris. I repeated the name to myself, my fingers clutching my purse tighter and tighter. If I remember correctly, Vivian posted a picture of a haute couture gown on her social feed this morning. The caption read, "Flying to Paris to get proposed to." What do you guys think of my battle dress? Although Oliver rarely mentioned her in front of me, plenty of people in the industry knew that the Foster and Vance families had long arranged a marriage alliance. Oliver's sudden trip to Paris must be to prepare for the proposal. Seeing that I was quiet, Oliver glanced over at me. His tone softened into something almost like a caress. "It's only for 3 days. What kind of gift do you want? I'll bring it back for you." I have to admit, Oliver has been incredibly generous to me over the years. He's showered me with resources without a second thought. The black card he gave me has no limit. Every time one of my projects was released, he would throw a huge celebration for me. Add to that his face, which could rival any top-tier Hollywood star, and it would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. So, when he gave me my 18th necklace, I couldn't help but tease him. "Oliver, how come you've never given me a ring?" Oliver had just finished an international video conference. He looked up from his computer, his eyes holding a deep meaning. "Do you think that would be appropriate?" His words were like a bucket of cold water, instantly extinguishing all my fantasies. Of course. A ring is for the one you love. I wasn't the right one. So from that day on, I settled into my role as the canary in Oliver's gilded cage. I didn't get jealous, I didn't cross lines, and I certainly didn't pry into his private life. But now, fate had decided to play a huge joke on me. Oliver was about to marry his intended. And I was pregnant with his child. My eyes stung for no reason. I shook my head. "No, thanks. I don't want a gift." Oliver. Amid the flashing city lights, I looked at his sharp profile and managed a small smile. "Is there anything you want to say to me before you go to Paris? Like, this is the end for us. Or, here's a blank check, fill it out for whatever you want, and don't contact me again." I held my breath, waiting for his answer. But Oliver just frowned, looked me over, and said, "Yes. We'll talk when I get back." That night, in Oliver's massive mansion, I racked my brain. I came to one conclusion: even though Oliver was getting married, he had no intention of ending things with me. This was a terrible situation. But what was even worse was that I was carrying his child. To avoid any mistakes, I took out another pregnancy test I'd bought at the pharmacy and tried again. Sure enough, 2 glaring lines. I let out a sigh and slipped the test into my pocket, looking for a chance to sneak out and throw it away. But the moment I opened the bathroom door, a large figure pinned me against the wall. The man in front of me smelled of alcohol. He grabbed my chin and kissed me hungrily. Desire mixed with the tannins of red wine filled my mouth. As our lips and tongues tangled, our breathing grew heavier. Whenever Oliver went on a business trip, he would take me again and again, insatiably. Tonight would be no different. As we kissed passionately, his tongue expertly parted my lips. Just as he was about to make his next move, the thought of the baby in my belly flashed through my mind. I frowned instinctively and pushed him away. "No. Not tonight." Rejected, Oliver paused, but he wasn't angry. He leaned against the doorframe with his arms crossed, watching me with an amused expression, as if enjoying the sight of his prey putting up a futile struggle. "We haven't even started, and you're already saying no?" His tone made it clear he thought I was playing hard to get. I was about to come up with an excuse when the nausea churned in my stomach again. I turned and hunched over the sink, dry heaving. A flicker of panic crossed Oliver's eyes. He came over to support me, his voice laced with concern. "Is it your stomach acting up again? I'll call Dar. Evans." Seeing him pull out his phone, my heart dropped. I quickly covered the screen. "Don't call him, I'm fine." I shook my head. My voice lacked conviction. Oliver gave me a look that said, "Seriously? Come on, you're a grown woman. You see a doctor when you're sick. What are you so afraid of? It's not like you're pregnant, right?" My breath caught in my throat. I studied Oliver's expression as he spoke. The corners of his eyes were lifted, his dark pupils filled with a disbelieving smile. Of course. He'd never even considered the possibility that I could get pregnant. Or maybe, he just didn't want me to. No, how could I be pregnant? I forced a stiff smile. While telling myself, just drop it, I couldn't stop myself from asking again. But what if? I mean, just what if? What if I did get pregnant by accident? What would you do? As I said it, the smile on Oliver's face slowly faded. After a long silence, he said with a serious expression, "Kathy, you shouldn't joke about things like that." He wrapped his arms around my waist from behind. His hot breath tickled my neck as he said, word by word, "Have you forgotten what you said? Be good. Now isn't the right time for a baby." A reverent kiss landed on my neck. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, but my vision started to blur. I met Oliver at a party. At the time, my dad had run off after racking up huge gambling debts, and the loan sharks were threatening my mom. I was still in the acting program at my university, so I had no choice but to sign with a shady agency. I worked day and night, taking any role I could get, but the money I earned was next to nothing. To land a part, I was often forced to drink with directors. One time, I was so drunk I broke out in hives all over. Oliver, who arrived midway through, put a stop to it and took me to the hospital. After that, he started finding ways to give me resources and help me terminate my contract with my old agency. It was obvious to anyone with eyes what the powerful entertainment mogul was up to. Naturally, I knew how to return a favor. So, the night he drove me home, emboldened by a little alcohol, I leaned over and kissed the corner of his mouth as I was getting out of the car. Oliver froze. Just as I thought I'd misread the situation and was about to bolt, he reached across the center console, cupped the back of my head, and deepened the innocent kiss. A romantic song was playing on a loop in the car that night. And for the next 2 years, I let myself get lost in that make-believe fairy tale. But now, it was time for my fairy tale to end. Because my stomach was upset, Oliver just held me as we slept. The next morning, as I was getting changed, a small object fell to the floor with a thud. I glanced down at the pregnancy test I hadn't managed to throw away last night. All sleepiness vanished. I bent down to pick it up. But a well-defined hand reached past mine and got to it first. The air seemed to freeze. A few seconds later, Oliver's deep voice came from above me, tinged with accusation. "Kathy, don't tell me you don't know who this belongs to." I snapped my head up. I met Oliver's gaze. He was holding back, but it was obvious he was furious. "This is bad, this is really bad." My mind raced. Seeing he was about to explode, I blurted out, "Wait, I can explain. This baby isn't yours." At my words, Oliver's face instantly went cold. The storm in his eyes looked like it was about to swallow me whole. I lowered my head and swallowed nervously. Just then, Oliver's phone rang. His assistant's voice on the other end was frantic. Feeling like I'd been granted a reprieve, I snatched the pregnancy test and scurried into the bathroom. It's okay, it's okay." After finishing his call, Oliver walked to the bathroom and knocked. His tall silhouette was visible through the frosted glass. His voice was tight with anger. "Kathy Taylor, get out here." When I didn't move, he sighed. "Fine. You just stay put. When I get back, I'll deal with you." With that, I heard the heavy slam of the front door. So aggressive. I already told him the baby wasn't his, and he's still this mad. As I grumbled to myself, I tried to figure out how to handle this. After years of hard work, plus all the resources Oliver had given me, I'd long since paid off my family's debt and saved up a considerable amount of money. Factoring in all the gifts he'd given me, I was practically a wealthy woman in my own right. Raising a baby would be no problem. As long as I stuck to my story that the baby wasn't his and hid somewhere else until I gave birth, I could have the child without a father in the picture. By the time Oliver forgot about me, he wouldn't bother with the baby either. Decision made. I immediately bought a ticket to go stay with my best friend abroad. That evening, I called my agent, Nina, to arrange my work affairs. A message from her popped up on my phone. "Kathy, look at Vivian's social feed. Isn't that necklace the Starlight Orchid one you were looking at?" Something hit me in the chest. I opened Vivian's social media. Pinned at the top was a photo of a hand holding a jade and diamond necklace. The caption read, "An 8-figure necklace." All I had to do was mention it, and someone bought it for me. In the picture, orchids and vanilla leaves intertwined, creating the necklace's elegant and unique design. It was the very same starlight orchid I had pointed out to Oliver while I was resting my head on his lap and flipping through a magazine. At the time, Oliver had glanced at it and commented, "The name has orchid in it? It's perfect for you. Do you like it?" I nodded enthusiastically. He had stroked my head affectionately. "If you like it, it's yours." I gazed up at his sharp jawline. Damn, this man was handsome even from the worst angle. For a second, I wasn't sure if he was keeping me or I was keeping him. I poked his abs playfully. If I like you, does that mean you're mine too? He chuckled at that, putting down his book. The moment he looked down at me, it was like the entire starry sky was reflected in his eyes. Emicham. I'm all yours. But now, not only did he not belong to me, but even the starlight orchid wasn't mine. A lump formed in my throat. I turned off my phone and started packing my suitcase. The jewelry he gave me, I'll take it. The deeds to the properties he gave me, I'll take them. The bags he bought me, I'll take those too. I'll take it all. Serve him right. But the more I packed, the more stuff there was. And the more I packed, the more the tears started to fall. That's it. It's just too much stuff to take with me. That's why I'm crying. Someone like me, who loves money this much, could never be a fool for love. After packing, I sent Oliver a text. I'm gone. Did you think I was going to congratulate you? Forget it. Don't ever contact me again. Then, I blocked his number. I hailed a cab and rushed to the airport. The boarding announcement for my flight echoed through the terminal. Every time I used to travel for work, Oliver would see me off at the airport. Going alone now felt a little strange, but it was fine. I touched my still flat stomach, finding it hard to believe a new life was growing inside. Don't worry, I whispered. Even if it's just me, Mommy will take good care of you. A faint bitterness rose in my heart, but it was quickly drowned out by the final boarding call. I put on my sunglasses and strode toward the gate. Goodbye, New York. Goodbye, Oliver. I handed my ticket to the gate agent. After checking it a few times, they said, I'm sorry, miss, but there's a problem with your ticket. A surge of anger rose in me, and I was about to demand an explanation. The next second, black-suited bodyguards appeared from nowhere and surrounded me. At the same time, Oliver's furious voice came from behind me. Kathy Taylor, where do you think you're going? Oliver threw me over his shoulder, carried me out, and shoved me into his car. The partition between the front and back seats rose, and I instinctively scrambled to the other side of the car. I had no idea why Oliver was at the airport. He was supposed to be in Paris, proposing to Vivian. Seeing my panicked reaction, Oliver let out a cold, self-deprecating laugh. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me onto his lap. His large hand clamped around my tiny waist. Realizing what he was about to do, I shuddered and grabbed his arm, my voice pleading. Oliver, I know you don't want this baby. I won't cause you any trouble. I'll raise the baby myself. Can we just part on good terms? As soon as the words left my mouth, Oliver's ink-black eyes darkened. He was silent for a long moment, and just when I thought he would explode, he spoke, his voice hoarse and strained. You love him that much? Enough to leave me for him? But what choice did I have? In the past, maybe I could have lied to myself, convinced myself the arranged marriage was just a rumor. I could have deliberately ignored everything about you and just been your well-behaved girl. But I couldn't deceive myself anymore. Even if Oliver's marriage was loveless, even if he was willing to accept this child, I didn't want to spend every holiday watching the man I loved celebrate with someone else's family. While I was left alone, waiting by a lonely lamp. The thought made my eyes sting, and tears welled up. I shook my head. The gloom on Oliver's face began to lift. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, as if making a difficult decision. Are you sure you want this baby? I bit my lip. Yes. Okay. He sighed, finally giving in. Have the baby. I'll raise it. But from now on, you're only allowed to love me. Deal? Oliver took me to his secluded villa in the suburbs. The reason was simple, the security was better here. For the next few days, probably because he was afraid I'd run away again, my every move was monitored by staff. Worried about the hassle of me going to a hospital, he even had a private prenatal examination room set up in the house. Oliver hadn't come to the villa since that night. He just sent his assistant, Mr. Hayes, every day to check on my condition. After a while, I started to get antsy. You tell Oliver I'm not some pet he can keep in a cage. I have to work. I have a contract for a variety show to fulfill. Mr. Hayes hemmed and hawed for a moment before deciding to tell me the truth. Miss Taylor, Foster Corp bought out your talent contract yesterday. You're now one of their artists. Also, the physical demands of those variety shows are too high. Mr. Foster didn't think they were suitable, so he canceled them for you. The contract termination fees have already been paid. Wait, what? Who does Oliver Foster think he is, canceling my shows? Does he think money can solve everything? I was stunned and furious. We're breaking up. We have to break up. At that, Mr. Hayes let out a heavy sigh. Miss Taylor, you'll have to tell Mr. Foster that yourself. But he hasn't had it easy lately either. He's been sleeping at the office, pulling all-nighters for days. I think he's just trying to numb himself with work. I paused, muttering defensively, what does that have to do with me? Well, he thinks he's been cheated on big time. What do you think? Mr. Hayes mumbled. Then his tone became serious. Miss Taylor, you might think Mr. Foster has everything and that people are constantly trying to get on his good side. But the truth is, after years of fighting his father, his illegitimate half-siblings, and the company's shareholders, he doesn't have many people who genuinely care about him. I've been with Mr. Foster for 8 years, and I can tell he cares about you a lot. So if there's some misunderstanding between you two, it's best to clear the air. That night, I lay on the massive bed in the master bedroom. The decor here was the same as in Oliver's penthouse, all customized to my liking. I love Kuromi. So, as far as the eye could see, the room was filled with Kuromi figurines and plush toys. A photo of me and Oliver in the Maldives sat prominently on the bedside table. My thoughts always tend to run wild at night. I pulled out my phone, debating whether to text Oliver. Just then, I heard the sound of the front door unlocking. I got out of bed and ran downstairs, just in time to meet Oliver at the foot of the stairs. He looked as impeccable as ever, but the unmelted snow on the shoulders of his black overcoat made him look a little worn out. Our eyes met, and it felt like ages had passed. Oliver looked me over, and his brow furrowed when his gaze fell on my bare feet. Why are you barefoot again? He walked over, placed a gift box in my arms, and then, without another word, scooped me up and carried me toward the bedroom. My body was enveloped in his familiar warmth, his steady heartbeat drumming in my ear. I wrapped my arms around his neck. A sense of peace washed over me, but a lump of sadness remained lodged in my throat. If only we had been born into the same world. It must be the pregnancy hormones. The thought made my eyes well up again. Oliver placed me on the bed, looking a little helpless. Why are you crying again? Have you been bored cooped up in here? Mr. Hayes said you wanted to go out and film, but right now, your health is the priority. Don't worry, we're not short on resources. He gestured for me to open the gift box. I had someone bring this back from Paris for you. See if you like it. I nodded, wiping my tears as I opened the box. But when I saw what was inside, I froze. The necklace in the box was the Starlight Orchid. But wasn't the Starlight Orchid already given to Vivian? Was Oliver stealing his wife's jewelry to cheer me up? Seriously, I didn't know how to feel about this. Seeing my troubled expression, devoid of any joy, Oliver asked, "What's wrong? You don't like it?" "No, I love it." In the past, I wouldn't have asked questions. I would have just quietly accepted the gift. But remembering what Mr. Hayes had said, I looked into Oliver's eyes and mustered the courage to add, "But if you give this to me, does Vivian know?" It was the first time I had ever mentioned Vivian's name so openly in front of Oliver. Oliver's expression didn't flicker. Instead, he raised an eyebrow. "How did you know they brought it back?" "They?" Now it was my turn to be confused. Oliver took the necklace and slowly fastened it around my neck. He placed a searing kiss on my forehead. "Yeah," he explained. I asked Felix and his fiancée to bring it back from Paris for me. I was supposed to attend their engagement party on this business trip, but my flight got changed because of work. Lucky for me it did, or who knows where you would have run off to by the time I got back. I stared at Oliver, speechless. Felix was Oliver's cousin, a director in the industry. I'd met him at an event before. But wasn't Vivian Oliver's fiancée? How did she become Felix's? Wait, if Vivian was Felix's fiancée all along, then what was all that stuff on her social media about? I remembered the first time I added Vivian on social media. I was auditioning for the second female lead in the movie Wasteland, and Vivian happened to be one of the producers. Just as the director was about to give me the part, Vivian spoke up. Sorry, but I don't think you're quite right for this role. When it comes to acting, I'm relentless. I asked right then and there, could you tell me what's not right? Vivian smiled. The character is a bartender, but she grew up in the countryside. She's supposed to have this rustic innocence. But you, and please don't take this the wrong way, you have a bit of a worldly vibe. Even the director's face fell at her words. Naturally, I didn't get the role. Before I left, Vivian gave me her contact info. Your acting really is good. If you don't mind, Miss Taylor, you can add me. Maybe we can work together in the future. We never spoke again after that. Whenever we saw each other at events, Vivian was always hostile towards me. I didn't understand it at first, until someone told me she was Oliver's arranged fiancée. Feeling guilty, I started avoiding her, but I couldn't help but look at her social media. I just wanted to see what the person who could stand by Oliver's side openly was like. Looking back now, it seems I walked right into a carefully laid trap from the very beginning. What's wrong? Oliver's voice pulled me back to the present. Is Vivian really your cousin's fiancée? I asked, needing to be sure. Who else's would she be? Oliver smiled helplessly and ruffled my hair. I opened Vivian's social media. The pinned post was gone, and her entire feed had been wiped clean. I turned to Oliver. Do you have Vivian's contact info? Our families have known each other for generations, so we're connected, but we don't talk much, he said calmly. When I saw Vivian's profile from Oliver's phone, I finally understood. All those ambiguous posts hinting at a relationship with Oliver were visible only to me. Or maybe just to me and my close friends. The profile she showed everyone else was just movie promotions and the occasional picture from the Foster family estate. My heart sank. I looked at Oliver. Even though I had no proof now, I decided to tell him everything. Oliver, there have always been rumors in the industry about an alliance between the Foster and Vance families. Vivian's social media posts always mirrored your travel schedule, and she posted a picture of the starlight orchid you promised me. That's why I thought she was your fiancée. Only I could see those posts, and now they're all deleted. I know you might doubt me, and I can't prove anything right now, but... The room was quiet for a long time. Then, as if something had just clicked, Oliver looked both amused and exasperated. There is a marriage alliance between our families, but I'm not the one involved. Why would you think I wouldn't believe you? Kathy, you don't need any proof. If you say it, I believe it. He came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist, his voice soothing. Don't worry, I'll handle this. You just focus on resting and taking care of yourself. The next afternoon, I was woken from a deep sleep by a call from Nina. Kathy, why are you still sleeping? Go look at Vivian's ex account. She just tagged you in an apology. I shot up in bed and quickly opened the app. Vivian had posted a message tagging me. I would like to apologize to Ms. Kathy Taylor for deliberately denying her a role during my time as a producer on Wasteland for personal reasons. I also apologize for my long-standing inappropriate remarks on my private social media. I hope Ms. Taylor can forgive me. The post immediately went viral. Gossip accounts dug up my old headshots from the Wasteland editions. Vivian was instantly swarmed with criticism. No wonder Wasteland bombed at the box office. They kicked out the talented actors. wasn't the second female lead supposed to be a total bombshell? Kathy is definitely gorgeous enough. But I thought I heard someone say Kathy Taylor only gets roles because of her connections? That's ridiculous. Have you ever seen an actress with connections star in over a dozen movies and only just now land a leading role? While Oliver had thrown a lot of resources my way for variety shows and endorsements over the years, he knew how dedicated I was to my craft. He had never used his influence to pull strings for me in an audition. That's why I had been able to so confidently ask why I wasn't right for the part after being rejected. On the phone, Nina asked tentatively, "How are you going to respond?" When I didn't answer, she added, "I just heard that your Mr. Foster was behind Vivian's apology. Don't worry, our PR team is from Foster Corp now. You can respond however you want." While Nina and I were talking, the topic's engagement had already shot up by hundreds of thousands. I thought for a moment, then posted a promotional still from my latest movie with Leo. The caption was a line from the film. And just like that, the ship has sailed past 1,000 mountains. The moment I posted it, Nina was stunned. That response is perfect. And wasn't it a response, in its own way? Since the movie still needed promotion, Leo's team reached out, hoping I would appear on a new variety show with him. But when I arrived at the private room we'd agreed on, only Leo was there. He smiled when he saw me. "My manager had to leave for something urgent. Do you mind if it's just the two of us?" "It's all the same," I said with a nod, taking a seat and getting straight to the point. "I've seen the contract you sent over. This show isn't part of the movie's promotional tour. You don't have to include me." Leo's lips curved into a thoughtful smile. "Kathy, wouldn't it be good to build up our on-screen chemistry with the audience before the movie comes out?" His words sounded professional enough, but I caught the underlying message and reminded him, "Leo, I've told you before, I don't do fake relationships for PR outside of official movie promotions." "You've misunderstood, Kathy. I'm not trying to create a fake relationship with you." He leaned closer. His innocent-looking face reflected my own image in his eyes. "Haven't I made it obvious? I'm pursuing you." The air was silent for a few seconds. Then, a sudden wave of nausea hit me. I bent over and started to gag. Leo's face froze, but he quickly came over to help me, though his words were tinged with disbelief. "Kathy, is my confession that disgusting?" As he spoke, he pulled out a ring. "I'm not playing around. I'm serious. You might not remember, but when I was just an extra on another set, nobody asked if I had eaten. You were the only one who came over and asked me. I've liked you ever since then." With that, he got down on one knee. "I'm asking you out with the intention of marriage. Kathy, please consider it." I was too busy heaving to speak and just waved my hand at him. Seriously, who proposes with a ring when they confess their feelings for the first time? Just as I was about to say something, the door to the room was pushed open. A pair of expensive black leather shoes came into view. Oliver's voice, cold as ice, came from above. "A proposal?" He sneered. "Am I interrupting something?" My mind went completely blank. When I came to my senses, my heart sank. I was completely innocent, but I felt a strange sense of guilt, like I'd been caught cheating. Before I could explain, Oliver grabbed my wrist and pulled me away. As we were leaving, he slammed the contract on the table onto Leo's chest. "This show is beneath her. She's not interested." His eyes then fell on the diamond ring in Leo's hand. "Looks like actors' salaries have really taken a hit," he said scornfully. "Can't even afford a decent engagement ring. Don't worry. Your salary will be taking an even bigger hit from now on." The door to the room slammed shut. Oliver swept me up into his arms. His expression was thunderous, so I struggled and tried to explain. "You've misunderstood. It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" Oliver stopped and put me down, pinning me against the wall. His face was darker than I had ever seen it. The hand caressing my cheek was trembling slightly as he asked, "The baby is his, isn't it?" I shook my head frantically. No, the baby is. The words were on the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed them back. I remembered the image of Leo on one knee with a ring. Even if Vivian wasn't Oliver's fiancée, that didn't mean he wanted this baby. After all, he had said it wasn't the right time. And I still clearly remembered his answer when I asked him why he'd never given me a ring. Is what? Oliver pressed. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. It's nothing. Think whatever you want. But the baby isn't Leo's, and please don't take your anger out on an innocent person. That must have been the last straw. The veins in his neck bulged, and his hand tightened on my chin. A faint redness crept into the corners of his eyes. You're defending him? Kathy, I've been letting you have your way. Did you really think I wouldn't have the heart to blacklist you? A single tear rolled down my cheek. It was bitter, so bitter. The moment I opened my mouth to speak, my words were smothered by a furious kiss. A desperate, frantic tangle. When we first got together, Oliver had asked if I wanted our relationship to be public or private. I understood what he was really asking and gave him an easy out. Either is fine, but Hollywood is full of gossip. It's probably better to be private. So, even though there were rumors in the industry that I was Oliver's girlfriend, we never confirmed them. We never acted overly familiar in public. And if we were ever accidentally photographed, Oliver's PR team would kill the story immediately. But now, he was kissing me in a public place without a care in the world. In my peripheral vision, I could see people recognizing me, pulling out their phones to take pictures. I tried to push him away, but he pinned my wrists against the wall and kissed me even harder. Oliver didn't come home that night. He had Mr. Hayes take me back to the villa and then left on his own. I curled up on the sofa, thinking about all the people who must have taken photos tonight. Our relationship was probably going to be exposed. Even if he didn't blacklist me, by tomorrow morning, the story of me being a sugar baby would be all over the internet. My rivals would probably seize the opportunity to plant negative stories about me. The more I thought about it, the more exhausted I felt. I called my mom. She doesn't understand the entertainment industry, so I've always tried to only share good news with her. But right now, all I wanted to do was leave New York and go back home. The phone rang for a long time before she picked up. When she did, I could hear other voices in the background. Kathy, dear. Have you been busy? Why didn't you come home with your boyfriend? My mom asked cheerfully. My hand tightened around the phone. What boyfriend? Mom, is there someone else there? I asked, suddenly on edge. Oliver just got here with some gifts. The last time I saw him, I could tell you two were more than just friends, but you insisted he was just your boss. I was speechless. We had just been fighting this afternoon. How could he have flown to my hometown so quickly? Mom, put him on the phone. The phone was passed over, and I heard Oliver's familiar voice. Your mom is fine. Don't worry. I dug my nails into my palm, unable to hold back the flood of emotions any longer. Oliver, do you have any idea what it means for you to go see my mother? Emicham, he hummed on the other end. Kathy, will you come with me to the Foster estate tomorrow night? The next day, just as photos of me and Oliver were spreading like wildfire across gossip sites, and everyone was speculating about our relationship, Oliver posted a photo of us on his official X account. The caption was simple, everyone, meet Mrs. Foster Kathy Taylor. The post sent shockwaves through the industry. Messages from friends started pouring in. Holy crap, Kathy, your boyfriend is Ethan Foster? You kept that under wraps. Okay, so you're Mrs. Foster just playing a supporting role for fun, while I'm an actual supporting actress. Even Nina was shocked. Wait, wasn't your relationship with Mr. Foster a benefactor situation? What is happening? That evening, I went with Oliver to the Foster estate. The dinner was not what I had expected. It seemed that Oliver was the one who really held the power in the family now. When his father questioned my status as just a little actress, Oliver's reply was firm. I've taken Foster Corp to new heights, not so I could sacrifice my own marriage for someone I don't love. I, Oliver Foster, do not need a marriage alliance. With that, the way the Foster family looked at me changed completely. After dinner, just as everyone was gathered around me, excitedly asking about Hollywood gossip, Vivian suddenly burst in with Felix. Her eyes were red as she pointed at my stomach. Uncle, don't let this woman fool you. She's carrying another man's child. The baby isn't Oliver's. I have video proof. She held up her phone. On the screen was the footage of Oliver pinning me against the wall in the hotel hallway, questioning me. Our conversation was crystal clear. The baby is his, isn't it? No, the baby is. Is what? It's nothing. Think whatever you want. But the baby isn't Leo's, and please don't take your anger out on an innocent person. It felt like a lightning bolt had struck my brain. The aunts and cousins who had just been holding my arm and chatting eagerly, all went silent the moment the video ended. They looked at each other, then let go of me as if I were contagious. I was about to explain when Oliver stepped behind me and patted my shoulder reassuringly. He then spoke calmly. That video just shows Kathy and me having an argument. We were saying things we didn't mean. I'm surprised someone with ulterior motives would go to the trouble of pulling security footage to make a scene. Vivian, clearly not expecting this reaction, stomped her foot in frustration. Oliver, how can you still defend her after all this? Oliver sneered. Are you saying you know whose baby it is better than I do? As for you, Vivian, I never understood why you had it out for Kathy. But then someone sent me a video of you, drunk and running your mouth. Would you like to see it? Vivian's face went white. She clutched Felix's sleeve. Felix patted her head comfortingly, then walked over to me. I'm sorry, Kathy. I couldn't stop her. She won't say anything like this again. The drama was over. Just as everyone was about to leave, I spoke up. You're in love with Oliver, aren't you? A flash of panic crossed Vivian's eyes. I smiled. Since you've raised doubts, and to avoid any future whispers. In 16 weeks, I'm willing to have an amniocentesis to prove this baby is Oliver's. When we got home that night, Oliver covered my eyes. When he let go, I saw that the living room had been transformed into a sea of Kuromi plush toys. In the middle of it all, a red velvet box held a massive pink diamond ring. Oliver got down on one knee. For the first time, his voice trembled. I had a much bigger proposal planned, but I lost my confidence. Kathy, I commissioned this ring 3 months ago. I had someone search for the perfect stone in South Africa, and they finally found it. My heart pounded in my chest. I controlled my emotions and asked, Are you sure, Oliver? You once said a ring wasn't appropriate for me. And when we started this, you never intended to make it public. Oliver frowned, remembering everything he'd said. All my hesitations, my insecurities, my cautiousness, it all seemed to make sense now. He asked in disbelief, Kathy, you don't actually think I was just keeping you, do you? Wasn't that what it was? He gave a bitter smile. The day we got together, I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. But you're a public figure, and I was afraid of the impact it would have on you. That's why I asked if you wanted to be public or private. Do you remember? You said you didn't want to go public. In Oliver's eyes, he was the poor guy who had been in a relationship for 2 years but could never get his girlfriend to acknowledge him. And the ring thing was a huge misunderstanding. The Fosters were a traditional family, and Oliver believed a ring should only be given during a proposal. So when I asked about it back then, what he meant was that the timing wasn't right. I was wrong. I didn't give you the security you needed. I should have realized sooner. You've been supporting your family since you were in college. Of course it would be harder for you than other girls to trust in a purely emotional connection. The moment I saw Leo with that ring, I knew that my own timidness was just pushing you further away. I don't blame you for. Before he could finish, I cut him off. Oliver, the baby is yours. Oliver smiled. Don't worry. From now on, whether we're with my family or anyone else, I will treat this child as my own, as long as we can be together. I said. I mean, the baby is yours. You'll know for sure after the amnio. I know. I'll have Dr. Evans prepare a fake report beforehand to satisfy my family. I felt a wave of helplessness, like we were speaking two different languages. I picked up the massive diamond and slid it onto my finger. Furious, I pulled Oliver up from the floor. I stood on my toes, cupped his face, and repeated, word for word. I'm saying this one last time. There is no Leo, and there's no one else. This baby is yours. I lied before because I was afraid you wouldn't want it. If you still don't get it, I'm taking this baby and disappearing so far away you'll never find us. Time seemed to stand still for a few seconds. Then, realization dawned on Oliver's face. He let out a whoop of joy and swept me into his arms. He carried me toward the master bedroom. Wait a minute, is this really the right direction for this conversation? Later, I heard that the scandalous video of Vivian with a male model somehow made its way to the Foster family. Even though Felix begged and pleaded, saying he couldn't live without Vivian, the Fosters, concerned about their reputation, called off the engagement. And Felix, after all, was not Oliver. In a big family like theirs, if you can't contribute to its legacy, you don't get a say in who you marry. Oliver proposed to me again on the night I won Best Actress for the movie The Wind. That day, every major news outlet was running headlines about Oliver Foster proposing to me live at the award ceremony. I covered my mouth, tears of joy streaming down my face. When the news broke, some people accused me of staging it for publicity. Others wondered if Oliver had some dirt on me that forced his hand. That day, I reposted the article about the proposal on my X account. And just like that, the ship has sailed past 1,000 mountains. Everyone, meet my Mr. Foster, Oliver Foster.